guys, guess what time it is?
It's time for small potatoes.
Where we give you a naughty tease of our latest Patreon episode.
Be sure to subscribe. Links are in the description.
What magical, crazy sexual shit are we getting into?
We are jumping back to the world of Twitter. You're going to read a tweet for us from Goddess Ivy, and it's really touching on relinquishing control, escapism, and really just finding that balance sexually.
Oh, one of my favorite topics because I think both of us, this is near and dear to our hearts because we have some sexual desires that are, for some ridiculous reason, unfulfilled at the moment. And pending on the top of the list in terms of like priorities, but beyond priorities or even wish list, it's a need. It's a
Right.
downright like this is a standard, this is a boundary, this is a requirement. So we're talking about a bit of the balance between dom and sub, dominant, submissive. And this tweet specifically is about why so many men just fall head over heels for dominant sex workers.
Mhm.
And I think it's reflective of, yeah, many of the tones where I'm like, yep, want that in my real life. Yep, want that too. Ooh, some of that would be nice. And so, yes, we're going to read it. We're going to dive in and we're going to talk about why it makes so much sense because I think the
Yeah.
psychology and the like societal reasons behind it,
Mhm.
it's going to be, it's not even going to be shocking to anybody once we explain it all. So, as the goddess Ivy says, men don't fall for doms because we boss them around. They fall because for the first time, they feel seen. They've spent their lives pretending, acting like quote unquote real men, making decisions they hate, carrying burdens they never wanted.
Mhm.
And then they meet a woman who sees right through it. I'm getting turned on just reading this. Who doesn't just tolerate their submission, but demands it. They feel safe. They feel desired. They feel home. They feel that's why they crawl back. That's why they serve. It's not just control, it's freedom. And I was like, standing ovation.
Wow. Very poetic.
Louder for the people in the back. Like, put that on a billboard and a t-shirt because listen, I would fall for dominant men myself for the exact same reasons.
Mhm. I mean, I think there's so many men that are in high risk, um, high intensity, like those kind of positions all day that don't they want to unmask and kind of unleash themselves to be
Yes.
submissive? And I think it's such a turn on for them, but like you're saying, how we can relate it is when we're in work mode, which is almost all day, most days, we
Yeah.
are in charge. We are leading a group of women in a high risk industry. It is a lot of pressure. And to be able to come home and be in that submissive role is the desire that we both share. And it makes complete sense when I think about these men that are in these roles. Of course, that's what he wants. It makes all the sense in the world.
It really does, right? Like, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of pressure. And I don't sit around, I'm sure you don't either, most days going, oh, all this pressure. Like, it's not a
Right.
conscious
Yeah.
thought, it's just a fact all the time.
Mhm.
And I remind people all the time, I love reminding people, especially like our staff or clients, that we get 2 days off a year. You and I.
Right.
We get Christmas Day and we get New Year's Day.
Mhm.
We don't even get the eves because we're still open to 6:30. Like
Right.
thing. We still have to be Emily and Riley, which for us is a stage name, right? So an alter ego. We have to be in character all the time. And even on Christmas Day and New Year's Day, the phone is still filled with clients and messages and texts from staff going, Merry Christmas, Riley. Happy New Year, Emily. And I'm not going to be an asshole. I'm going to reply to them. So even
Mhm.
on the 2 days off, we still have to answer when someone goes, Emily, I have to go, uh-huh. I
Right.
don't I don't get that checkout. And so if I could come home And, daddy built a secret red room for all the fun. And once I'm in there, Emily, who, listen, my life, my mental health, my physical stress, my inflammation, like everything, everything would be better. Absolutely everything would be better. It would bring so much more balance to my life because I'd get to let go of the reins. And as much as I don't consciously think about the pressure, in that first like starting moment of what would be considered a scene, like
Mhm.
a session, a play out of this Dom sub dynamic, I would get to release the pressure. And
Mhm.
then hopefully the orgasms that follow will equally release some more pressure. But just the entry into a room like that, or entry into a moment or an encounter like that, or having someone who has that like sexual power around them that makes you want to submit, even in vanilla moments throughout the day, is
Mhm.
little moments where that pressure valve is just like opening and releasing that steam, that extra weight. I remember one of my favorite CSI episodes from one of the original CSI Grisham, good old days of CSI, was about a mayor that had built a secret room to
Mhm.
be an adult baby. And okay, that's not dominatrix dominant, but it is dom sub role play
Mhm.
because mommy's in charge and baby is dependent. And that was escapism for him. He was a mayor. That's a responsible job. You're responsible for a whole city of tens of thousands, hundreds of
Yeah.
thousands. In Toronto, it's million. Like there's a lot of pressure. It could take any natural disaster, any instant crises, and your whole life is upended. Hopefully, there's an intercom in the nursery so that we
Mhm.
can get the mayor out of his situations. But and taking it to that extreme is a wealthy man's playground, right? Like if you
Mhm.
can afford to build through a secret passageway your own nursery for your own
Yeah.
sexual fantasies that your wife doesn't know exists in the house, which was the facts of this episode, like that's investment in, as
Mhm.
far as I'm concerned, your mental health, because he clearly needed that in his
Mhm.
life to the point of construction and risking his marriage.
Yeah.
Like in his own home. Like it was just level, like people risk their lives, in that regard, their privacy maybe by coming into Muse or something. I mean, we risk it a little bit being on the camera, but in your own house, this man is invested. He
Mhm.
was invested in his penis needs, and the penis and the brain are completely directly connected, right? So it all ties in. It all makes so much sense to me. And yet I think Dom and sub stuff still has a stigma around it. People
Mhm.
still kind of think,
Yep.
does that mean abuse? Does that mean she didn't consent?
Yeah.
And I think we see it every day that actually it flourishes around consent. It
Mhm.
explodes when consent is established. And civilians aren't as good at that negotiation. Sex workers master consent
Yeah.
because we decide a service for a price. That's a contract, that's an agreement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's 50 shades of fun right there.
Mhm. I think it's funny that we all want what we don't have. Like those that don't have a lot of control or power crave it, right? But those
Yeah.
of us who have it, we want to be controlled. And I think for a woman to talk about it sounds really sexy. And I'm sure guys are like, oh, I'd love to control her or control that woman. But for a man to speak openly about it, I think there is a real stigma for men that
Yes.
want to be subs. And yeah, I just think that the difference between the man and woman is interpreted differently by others.
I mean, sexism is real, right? And
Mhm.
and that comes with a whole bunch of its own stigmas. And so I
Yeah.
agree. I think even, we could talk about like different social media trends and stuff. I think the push towards a trad wife trend, which is traditional, meaning
Right.
a homemaker, a stay-at-home mom type vibe. I mean, there is an element of that where the man wants to be in control and he wants a submissive wife, right? Like we've seen this in society. We see it in how divorce settlements are made. Like you see it in all kinds of different little elements in just the regular vanilla civilian world. And
Hmm.
I doubt most people are like us sitting around going, oh, well, sexually, this means, and psychology wise, this means, but
Right.
it's true. It's true. While people are going about their day, these moments are everywhere, actually. So it shouldn't be that shocking. It shouldn't be that like stigmatized or surprising. People
Hmm.
shouldn't assume like, listen, there was a lot of domestic abuse in the 50s where there was a lot of housewives. Guess what? There's a lot of domestic abuse now.
Hmm.
It's different. It morphs, laws change and how we discover it changes. And, now we can watch a documentary about it and learn three things. We've got little hand signals on the internet and all kinds of fun little tricks that help people find safety. But it itself didn't disappear. So, no, that
Hmm.
doesn't mean that a housewife is automatically abused. It doesn't mean a woman who's a CEO is not abused. Like it
Right.
can still, those things can all still play in. So let's just drop those stigmas because
Hmm.
we're talking about consent. We're talking about a chosen, a need that you choose to act on, something that you're
Hmm.
like, this is a void in my life, and therefore I need to fulfill that void. It's no different than deciding to start a diet or
Right.
deciding to, start dating again, or like all kinds of decisions we do to fill different pieces of the pie of our life experience and what should make a balanced life. Listen, there's a lot of people that overwork out at the gym to
Hmm.
compensate for their stresses. There's people that come home and are abusive because they have too much stress. Listen, could that man maybe afford an hour or two with a dominatrix and come out with a new attitude?
Hmm.
I'd lay my bets. But
Yeah.
I think the same is said for the submissive role. I think submissives have the exact same yet opposite desire, that
Right.
need. It burns deep, it fuels. And whether it's because you need to release the pressure of your responsibilities every
Hmm.
day, or because, you developed a kink for it through some trauma as a child, like whatever
Hmm.
your reasons, a need is a need, and a sexual need. We know this from humans, from pornography, from kinks, all the way to illegal sexual acts. Humans find a way to
Hmm.
fulfill their desires.